A perfectionist is a person who refuses to accept any standard short of perfection. To a perfectionist, anything that's less than perfect is unacceptable. However, we were not born a perfectionist, and perfectionism can harm you in oh so many ways. It's important to realize that perfectionism is a misconception, something that isn't true. It's true only as long as you believe it's true, and you hold tightly to perfectionist attributes. You have to let go and create a new way of living, free from the anxieties, rigidity, and problems that perfectionist characteristics bring with them. Keep watching this video to learn how you can strive to do the best you can while letting go of the dictates of perfectionism. If you are a perfectionist, you are probably thinking that if you let go of these attributes completely, you will do terrible work and lose whatever determination or discipline you have. But you can commit yourself to make changes step by step. In this way, you can make speedy progress. The first step onto a more beneficial path is to understand the difference between being a high achiever and devoting yourself to being perfect. They are similar in some ways, but different enough that the first is healthy and the second is not. When you work at being a high achiever, you push yourself to do your very best, but you don't try to be perfect or put yourself down if your work isn't faultless. And you are not anxious that something isn't just right or that your best isn't good enough. If it goes well, fine. If it doesn't go well, you will work with it to make it better. If you make mistakes, you don't beat yourself up about them. Rather, you understand that making mistakes helps you learn. You realize that errors help you see where you need to make adjustments until you no longer make those mistakes. So you analyze them to see what you did incorrectly, strive not to duplicate those same mistakes in the future, and keep on going. Perfectionists tend to worry that they haven't done well enough even when things go well. As a high achiever, when you see you've done some things well, you pat yourself on the back and give yourself credit for doing a good job in those areas. You are pleased with your accomplishments. You recognize that you are improving as you do well more often and make fewer errors. Perfectionists are strongly attached to impractical, impossible, and unreachable goals they set for themselves. To counteract this, consider changing the way you relate to goals and expectations. Set realistic and sensible goals based on what you have accomplished in the past with high standards that are reachable with effort. As you attain a goal, set your next goal only one level beyond the one you have already achieved. Focus on the process of achieving the goal as well as the result. Recognize that the process is the longest period in achieving your goal, and do your best to get pleasure from it too. Include in your analysis how successful you were, whether and how much you enjoyed the process of reaching your goal. Identify the goals that are a high priority to you and those that are less important. Give more effort to the high priority goals and less effort to those that are less significant to you. Be happy with any steps that are made in the right direction of your goals. Choose an activity that is not crucial in your life. Deliberately give only 90% effort into accomplishing it and feel what that's like. Then give 80% and 70% until you get familiar with not trying to be perfect at this activity. Perfectionists are generally not very good at relationships. Just as they try their best to be flawless themselves, they expect everyone else in their lives to be flawless. This is an impossible goal, and one that is very frustrating to people with perfectionist tendencies and the people in their lives. As you are making changes to stop trying to be so perfect, you also need to pay attention to the way you interact with others. Here are some suggestions for being more flexible in your relationships with people you work with and people you are close to. Have faith in your coworkers' abilities and delegate some of your work to them if appropriate. Exhibit trust and respect for them. If a coworker has difficulty doing a task you delegate, give her guidance instead of taking over the task herself. Have consideration for your coworkers. If they make a mistake, speak to them respectfully. Deal with criticism in a positive manner. If it is feedback based on actual knowledge, appreciate it and do something about it. If someone's opinion is negative and not based on fact, tell him calmly and nicely that you have listened to what he had to say, have considered it and don't accept it, but that you respect what he thinks. Then ignore anything else he says. Give your relationships the time and attention they deserve. Make sure you don't sacrifice your social life for work. Allow other people to be whom they are without criticizing or correcting them. Learn to appreciate their traits. Perfectionism manifests itself in your thoughts, feelings, and actions. As you recognize that perfectionism permeates your entire personality and that transformation is desirable, you need to concentrate on each of these areas to have the most effective outcome. Making changes in these 3 different areas will give you many rewards. Your work will be more productive. You will see better results in the things you undertake. You will have more satisfaction in your life, and your relationships will be closer and warmer. As a high achiever, it's time to treat yourself with the respect you deserve. Realize that you're an individual with abilities and talents and that you are fine just the way you are. Don't allow your negative self-talk to bully you. It's better to have an honest discussion with your inner critic. Listen to what he or she has to say and respond honestly to the point of view. You need to get beyond the cruel and unforgiving accusations and concentrate instead on constructive problem solving. You also need to insist that your inner critic be a positive, respectful voice that is trying to help you and not hurt you. It's important to replace self-critical and perfectionist thoughts with more realistic and helpful statements to and about yourself. For example, not one single person is perfect. My best is good enough. Everyone makes mistakes. It means I'm human like everyone else. I'm learning from my mistakes and doing my best not to repeat them. To have a healthier perspective, think about how others may see your situation. For example, if you're working nights and weekends on a report that you know others would be able to finish much more quickly during the workday, ask yourself how your coworkers would look at this situation. Also, if a close friend of yours were exhibiting this behavior, how would you advise your friend? Feeling anxious, fearful, embarrassed, angry, ashamed, and disgusted with themselves are the hallmarks of perfectionists. As you can readily see, these feelings not only lead to misery, but they certainly can't be physically healthy either. As a high achiever, you set achievable goals for yourself, viewing yourself with an abundant amount of empathy and understanding. You compassionately see that perfectionist thoughts and feelings are figments of your imagination, and are better able to grasp the realities about yourself and your work. You also feel respect for yourself and appreciate your talents and skills. You know you can't do everything perfectly, but you celebrate what you can do well. Besides, think of yourself as your loving parent or wise teacher. Use the language you think those people would use with you. View yourself with care and understanding. As a high achiever, you act with confidence and poise. You accept responsibility for your actions. You take pride in at least trying to accomplish things. You are a very productive person. You know you are capable of meeting life's challenges. You look forward to challenges because you know you have the skills to overcome any obstacles. You associate with positive people, and you're in the process of becoming more positive and appreciative of others at the same time. You focus on your past successes and are highly motivated to succeed. You now have the right attitude to succeed and you know you can. You are in charge of your life. If things are not the way you want them to be, you ask yourself what you can do to tap into your creative side to alter what needs to be changed. You discover what can be done and make the necessary modifications. Being willing to make the changes that are required is very important. This is the bridge between recognizing you have an issue with perfectionism and attempting to transform it. You also need to be willing to step back from yourself and observe your thoughts, feelings, and actions. While willingness gets you started on the road to change, having a desire to change motivates you to change. When the going gets tough, when you want to revert to your old, familiar perfectionist self, your desire to keep going is what will carry you onward. You create and attain goals in your life. As you do this, you take command of your life and control more of what happens to you. You keep a constant focus on making the needed changes and make them a priority in your life. By doing this, you make them happen. You think about the new, more confident person you are becoming when you wake up, as you go throughout your day, as you evaluate what happens during the day, and as the last thing you think about at night. You are happy and sure of yourself, and you have a passion for life. That's pretty much it for today. Hope you were able to say that almost perfect is still a job very well done. Hope you will have a higher regard for yourself and be able to take much more pleasure in your work, your life, your relationships, and yourself. Thank you for watching the video and hope you liked the content. Have a great day. See you next time.